Answer quickly. What image comes to mind when you think about rich people? If you thought solely about showing off, you're way off. There's a silent rule that real millionaires follow, and it goes unnoticed by most people, including you. Many built fortunes quietly, using simple steps nobody notices, but if you apply at least 3 of these moves, you're already on the right path. Pay attention, because most people are making the biggest mistake right now without even realizing it. Let's get straight to the point. 1. Most people want to look rich, not be rich. The desire for status consumes more money than any other financial trap in the United States. 63% of Americans admit to spending to impress others, even when it compromises their savings. Those who build real wealth invest in assets nobody sees. Those who want to look rich spend on symbols that lose value the next day. If you still prioritize appearance over accumulation, you're playing for the wrong team. Seneca warned, "It is not the man who has little, but he who desires more, that is poor." Apply this now. Before buying any status item, watch, car, designer clothes, ask whether it increases your net worth or just your social image. The practical action is simple. Eliminate one planned purchase this month that's purely for external validation and redirect that money to an investment account or emergency fund. Here's the objective threshold. If more than 30% of your monthly budget goes to items that only serve to impress, car, clothes, latest electronics, you're trapped in the status trap. Reduce that percentage to less than 10% over the next 3 months. Write down all appearance-related purchases for 4 weeks. If you exceed 2 purchases per month motivated by social validation, correct it immediately. This forces your mind to seek real wealth, not empty recognition. But avoiding showing off is just the first move, because now comes the invisible risk that attacks those who display prosperity. And if you ignore this in the next 60 seconds, you might be putting yourself in danger without even realizing it. 2. Showing off attracts risks and problems. Visible wealth turns you into a target for criminals, scammers, and opportunists who see status symbols as open invitations. Homes in wealthy neighborhoods with luxury cars in the garage are 3 times more likely to be broken into than discreet residences in the same area. Expensive watches, obvious jewelry, and social media full of showing off work as a map for those looking for easy victims. Those who keep wealth invisible eliminate this risk before it even appears. Those who display pay the price in safety and peace of mind. Epictetus taught, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Review your social media and remove any post from the last 6 months showing high-value assets, car, expensive trips, luxury purchases. Stop sharing your financial situation publicly and watch how peace increases while unwanted attention disappears. If you post more than twice a month content related to financial status, purchases, trips, assets, you're exposing yourself too much. Reduce to 0 posts of this type over the next 60 days. Monitor how many people comment or ask about your financial life after this change. If the number drops by half, you're on the right track. This protects your privacy and eliminates targets painted on your back. But protecting yourself from external threats is only half the equation, because in the next minute, you'll discover how money changes the people around you in ways you never imagined, and ignoring this could cost you your most important relationships. 3. Money changes relationships. When people find out you have more money, something changes instantly and almost always for the worse. Friends start expecting you to pay the bill, relatives show up with constant financial emergencies, and colleagues develop silent expectations. 78% of people admit to treating differently those they know have more resources, creating emotional dependency disguised as relationship. Those who keep their financial situation silent Maintain relationships based on character. Those who reveal spend their lives managing others' expectations. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Money reveals who people really are. It doesn't change anyone, just exposes character. When you keep your situation private, you protect not just assets, but the authenticity of relationships around you. Generosity stops being obligation and becomes conscious choice. If you lend money more than twice a year to the same person, or notice that financial requests come up frequently in conversations, the problem is clear. Reduce loans to 0 over the next 6 months and observe who stays by your side. If someone mentions money in more than 1 out of 10 interactions, recalculate the distance of that relationship. True relationships survive without financial transactions. Fake ones disappear when money leaves the table. But compromised relationships are just a symptom, because in the next minute you'll discover the trap that imprisons those trying to sustain an expensive image. And this prison is far more suffocating than it seems. 4. The appearance prison destroys freedom. A displayed lifestyle requires constant maintenance, and this maintenance drains time, energy, and money non-stop. Those who buy a $60,000 car need to sustain premium insurance, expensive fuel, and frequent maintenance. Those who live in an oversized house pay disproportionate energy, maintenance, and taxes. The more you show, the more you need to work to maintain the image, and the less freedom you have. Real wealth buys free time. Showing off steals both and traps you in cycles of financial stress. The Stoics taught that true freedom comes from not depending on others' opinions. The courage here is to live below your means, while everyone around lives above theirs. Those with silent wealth drive the $15,000 car, live in the house that fits the budget, and invest the difference in assets that grow quietly. Calculate how much of your monthly budget goes to maintaining appearances: unnecessary car, house bigger than ideal, designer clothes. If this value exceeds 15% of your income, you're trapped. Reduce it to less than 5% over the next 12 months by selling or trading expensive to maintain assets. Redirect the savings to investments. When you live well without expensive symbols, freedom will surpass any social validation. But escaping the appearance prison still doesn't solve everything. Because in the next minute, you'll discover how keeping your prosperity invisible protects more than money. It protects your peace of mind. 5. Stealth. Wealth protects your peace and security. Keeping your financial situation invisible reduces risks, takes you off the social radar, and preserves your autonomy. Discreet millionaires report significantly lower stress levels than those who display wealth publicly, simply because they eliminated unnecessary attention. Financial invisibility is a defensive strategy. Showing off is an open invitation to problems you don't need. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Revealing your financial situation is rarely necessary and almost always brings negative consequences. Keeping wealth silent isn't shame about success, it's protection of earned peace. You work to have freedom, not to explain choices or justify prosperity to those who don't matter. Financial silence is power. Never forget that. Review how many people know details of your financial life: salary, investments, assets. If more than 3 people have this information, you're too exposed. Reduce that number to 1 or 2 over the next few months, avoiding conversations about money in social contexts. When asked about salary or investments, answer vaguely and change the subject immediately. The less information you give, the more control you maintain over your own life. But protecting your peace is only half the equation, because in the next minute, you'll discover how silent wealth generates more authentic relationships, both personal and commercial. 6. Silence generates fairer negotiations. When you don't display prosperity, business negotiations flow more balanced. Sellers offer base prices without pressure to maximize margin, service providers charge standard rates, and consultants present real options instead of just the most expensive ones. It's not about dishonesty, it's about perception. When someone identifies signs of high purchasing power, they naturally adjust the offer upward. Those who keep wealth invisible receive fair proposals from the start. Those who display enter negotiations already at a disadvantage. The Stoics taught that wisdom lies in controlling what others see. When you hide signs of wealth, you recover bargaining power and eliminate price bias. Negotiations become balanced because the other side doesn't assume you can pay any amount. Financial discretion isn't just social protection, it's direct commercial advantage that saves money over the years. Do a simple test. When hiring any service, plumber, mechanic, consultant, don't reveal signs of wealth. Wear ordinary clothes, drive a discreet car, avoid mentions of investments. Compare the initial price with previous quotes or with colleagues who display status. The difference is usually significant. Repeat this behavior in all transactions over the next 6 months and calculate how much you save simply by not looking like a premium client. But saving on negotiations is just one benefit, because in the next minute you'll discover the truth about happiness that most people never understand, and it has nothing to do with what you own. 7. Happiness is not needing to prove anything. The pursuit of external validation is infinite. There will always be someone with more, better, or newer. Those who live to impress others enter a competition with no finish line, where each victory lasts days and each comparison generates dissatisfaction. Millionaires who keep wealth invisible report greater personal satisfaction precisely because they disconnected happiness from social recognition. They don't need anyone to know, so they don't need to worry about others' opinions. True freedom begins when you stop seeking approval for your choices. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." When you understand this deeply, the need to display wealth disappears. Happiness stops being in the hands of strangers judging your appearance and returns to where it should always be: in your daily choices, in your financial autonomy, in the peace of not owing explanations to anyone. Identify 3 recent decisions motivated by external validation. Status item purchase, trip posted on social media, unnecessary upgrade. Ask yourself, did this improve your life or just your image? Over the next 90 days, make financial decisions thinking exclusively about the impact on you, not on the invisible audience judging your choices. When you eliminate the imaginary audience from your decisions, financial clarity increases dramatically. But eliminating the need for approval is just the beginning, because in the next minute, you'll discover how to build lasting wealth while everyone around burns money trying to look successful. 8. Wealth grows in silence, not in the showcase. Those who spend time and money maintaining appearances aren't building anything. They're renting temporary admiration with resources that should multiply. Every dollar invested in status is a dollar that doesn't work for you in real assets. Discreet millionaires in the United States accumulate on average 32% more wealth over 20 years compared to people with similar income who show off. The difference isn't in how much they earn, but in how much they save and multiply away from the spotlight. Lasting wealth grows in silence, without an audience. The Stoics taught that true wealth isn't in what you show, but in what you accumulate. When you eliminate the need to impress, you free up capital to invest in income-generating assets, stocks, real estate, funds. While others buy depreciating cars, you buy appreciating stakes, While others spend on designer clothes, you accumulate dividends. The difference compounds exponentially over the years. Calculate how much you spent in the last 12 months exclusively to maintain image, expensive clothes, accessories, unnecessary upgrades. Take that total value and simulate what it would be today if it had been invested in index funds with an average annual return of 8%. The difference will show the real cost of showing off. Redirect at least half of that spending to investments over the next 12 months and track the growth of real wealth. But building wealth still isn't the final move, because in the next minute you'll discover the most important lesson most people never learn, and it decides who keeps wealth forever and who loses everything. 9. True wealth lies in control. The mistake that destroys most fortunes isn't spending too much. It's losing control over financial decisions because of social pressure. When you display wealth, you create expectations that need to be constantly maintained. You stop controlling your money and start being controlled by the image you built. Those who maintain discretion make decisions based on logic, not others' opinions. Control is freedom. Showing off is prison. Marcus Aurelius warned, "You have power over your mind, not external events. Realize this and you will find strength." Applying this to money means protecting your decisions from external influences. When nobody knows your real situation, nobody pressures your choices. You buy what makes sense, invest where you see value. This autonomy is worth more than any social recognition. Review your 3 biggest financial decisions from the last year. Ask yourself, how many were motivated by real need and how many by social pressure? If more than half had external influence, you've lost control. Over the next 6 months, wait 48 hours before executing any financial decision above $1,000, asking whether it serves you or your image. When you recover total control, wealth grows and peace increases. The final lesson is clear. Real wealth doesn't shout, doesn't compete, and doesn't need an audience. It exists in silence, protected from expectations and judgments. If you apply these moves, you'll build more than money. You'll build freedom that nobody can take from you. Every time you display prosperity, you lose control, attract problems, compromise relationships, and turn money into prison. The silent rule that real millionaires follow is simple. Keep your wealth invisible, protected from eyes and expectations, while building solid wealth away from the spotlight. Those who understand this build freedom. Those who ignore it get trapped in cycles of showing off and financial stress. Now I want to know, which mistake were you making without realizing it? And which step will you start your transformation with? Leave it in the comments. And if this video brought you value, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share with someone who's rethinking how they handle money. And since this topic caught your attention, check out another video on the subject on the end screen. I'm sure you'll find it very useful. Stay on the path to prosperity. Until we meet again.